What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 7 of the DSL League, where I am up against Vico Chaos, coach of the Houndoom Hercules. So if you guys are excited, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. We're currently 6-1 and he is undefeated. So this was a game I really wanted to win to try and bring down the current top of the league, undefeated champion. So I did put a fair amount of time into this prep, and what we'll do now is go through what he could be bringing, what I'm going to be bringing to answer to that, and then we'll go into the battle from there. So here is his draft. He's got Latios, Blissey, Uxie, Doublade, Wobbuffet, Granbull, Mega Venusaur, Weavile, Volcorona, Electivire, and Alomomola. And when you just hear that, like, the bulk is just insane. Like, Mega Venusaur, Alomomola, Granbull, Doublade, Uxie, and Blissey, all of them are ridiculously bulky. Then you've got absolutely fantastic offenses with, like, Latios and Weavile. And then obviously things like Doublade is a really nice to bulky setup sweeper as well. And then finally you've got to try and prep for the Wobbuffet or the Volcorona from Wobbuffet from trapping you, Volcorona from cleaning you up late game. So a very scary team to say the least to try and prep for. And what we'll do is we'll run through what I decided to go for. So this was the set that I decided was one I had to end up bringing, and this is a Choice Scarf Zoroark with Illusion. So this guy's designed to check things like +1 Volcorona, I can outspeed that and I can knock that off. I can Pursuit Trap the Latios, so if it drops a Draco, kills something, I can then just go back, go back into my Zoroark, trap it, and then it's good to go from there, and I don't have to worry too much about it. U-turn gives me some initiative, and with that amount of bulk, I need to have Trick, because I need some way to be able to potentially cripple some of his walls, because it is ridiculous. He can either go very offensive, very scary, or he can just go like super tanky, super bulky, and just completely wear me down from there. To try and stop this sort of super bulky side, I've got Mega Gardevoir, which is a max special attack, max speed set. This is designed to speed creep, to match the speed of max speed Volcorona with Hyper Voice, Taunt, Psyshock, and Pain Split. Hyper Voice and Psyshock hit a lot of his mons very hard, with the exception of the Doublade. The Doublade's the only worry. I can actually beat the Blissey 1v1 because I can taunt it, I can Pain Split it, which is really nice. And same as well with things like the Alomomola, I should be able to 1v1 that with this set. Mega Venusaur, I can put a lot of pressure on, so I can put on pressure on basically his entire team with the set outside of the Doublade, which is a real pain, but I do have some checks to it. So I've got my Talonflame, who is one of my checks. So I've got a Gale Wings Talonflame with Brave Bird, Flare Blitz, Swords Dance, and Roost. So this guy can actually Swords Dance on a couple of different mons. We can Swords Dance on the Blissey, we can Swords Dance on Mega Venusaur, potentially Volcorona if we force it out, and to some extent the Alomomola, because actually it doesn't have the best special attack, but it's still not, it depends if it's got Waterfall or Scald. And with Brave Bird and Flare Blitz, we hit pretty much everything very neutrally. Maybe the Granbull might be able to tank a hit, but the rest of them definitely drop to a +2 Brave Bird. So this guy is definitely my win condition late game. Alomomola, I do have to get out of the way, actually, thinking about it. But apart from that, Talonflame is looking really nice. Next, we do need some way of hazard removal and also a way to wear down the Weavile. So I've got a Fortress with Rocky Helmet. This guy's designed to come in, take a knockoff from Weavile, get some Life Orb, Rocky Helmet damage on that. If he goes to Ice Shard, I can wear him down from there. And this guy's designed to set up rocks and also just give me a bit of a bulky pivot, basically. Come in, set up Stealth Rocks, Rapid Spin if I need to, and then Volt Switch out to stop me being set up on, because Doublade gets a free switch every time, so I do ideally need to Volt Switch as many times as possible. And the Rock Slide means that with my investment, I can actually OHKO a offensive Volcorona with Rock Slide. So if I'm expecting him, if I come in, he's he's going to go for that Quiver Dance most likely, and if I die, at least I've stopped him from setting up and trying to sweep from there. Another way to try and break some of his bulk, I've got a Life Orb Heracross with Close Combat, Mega Horn, Substitute, and Knockoff. This guy hits everyone really hard. Really nice, apart from the Granbull. But I'm not really expecting the Granbull to come. I think I've got enough checks to it. The things like the Fortress, the Gardevoir just smacks it in the face. The Talonflame, depending on the set, might be able to set up on it. And also I've got my Nidoqueen as well. So my Nidoqueen is also trying, a way to try and break some of his bulk with Sludge Wave, Thunderbolt, Taunt, and Shadow Ball. With max HP, pretty much, max special attack, and a little bit of speed creeping. I'm trying to remember what that's for. I think that's for something like min speed Uxie or something like that. I can outspeed that. So that is it in terms of the team. What we're going to do now is move over to the battle, and you can see what happened from there. Okay, so we are at the battle, and as you can see, he brought a fair amount of offense, actually more than I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit more bulk. We don't see the Blissey, so that's always quite good news, but we've got the Mega Venusaur there, some sort of setup Doublade, which I've really got to watch out for, a very scary offensive core in the form of the Latios, and also my, the Weavile, and some sort of Uxie, probably defensive to try and sort of counteract things like Talonflame and stuff like that. Could potentially be packing something like HP Rock or something like that. And just generally sort of a fairly decent defensive core between the sort of three of these guys. And then finally the Electivire, which I was expecting probably is going to be Scarf, because Scarf Electro types is actually a really good check to Talonflame. But if I can wear that down, get that SD up on, potentially SD on this guy if he doesn't have HP Rock, or on the Mega Venusaur, then I could be good to go later on. So I decided my best lead here was the Zoroark, but what I'll do is I'll pretend to be Heracross, because I'm expecting the Uxie lead, and at least then I can force him out, get some initiative with U-turn, or I could knock off if I want to. So he does lead off with the Uxie, as I lead off with my Heracross. As he goes into the Doublade, I just go for U-turn here. If I'd have knocked off there, that would have been absolutely fantastic, but unfortunately I didn't. But I do get to go into Nidoqueen here, and I can put the pressure on. Now, I must admit, Shadow Ball is quite low down in sort of like the move pool. It's quite a, most people don't know Nidoqueen gets Shadow Ball, so I was like, I could go for my Earth Power here, it would do more damage, or I could go with the middle ground play, go for that Shadow Ball in case the Uxie comes in. So I won't go for the Shadow Ball here, as he goes out, goes into the Uxie, so I get the Shadow Ball off, doing a really decent amount of damage, which is nice. He goes to Stealth Rock here, I go for the Sludge Wave, predicting the switch into something like Weavile, or something like that, but unfortunately he does stay in, and that's actually pretty unfortunate for us, because now he's able to set up the light screen. I do go for another Sludge Wave, over predicting, well, expecting it to kill, but as you can see, he does go for the light screen, and now he's able to get the Reflect up as well, and we're not looking in a particularly great position. The Uxie's actually done a lot of very scary things to us. We're now forced out here. I've got to go into my Fortress, as he just goes to the Icicle Crash, not doing too much, which is pretty nice for me, and I have to Volt Switch here. The Doublade being around means it's really hard for me to try and get rid of my rocks, so I now can pivot back into my Nidoqueen from here, which is really, really nice for me. Out comes Venusaur. Shadow Ball not doing much under these stupid screens. Now I'm making a bit of a boo-boo here. I decided I was best to stay in. I wanted to go into Fortress, but I thought, to burn some screen turns, so he can go for Giga Drain, it wouldn't do too much. But I was not, I was stupid and decided to let my Nidoqueen take some damage, and that did a lot more than I was expecting. This looked to have some sort of offensive investment, which is not good at all, because Nidoqueen being worn down, especially when it's a Doublade check, is not good at all. He goes for another Giga Drain here. I use Fortress to wear him down, and now I have to Volt Switch out again, but I decide to be stupid and decide to just double out here. Now that I look back at it, I would think I was predicting the Eva to come in and get the speed boost, and then it can sort of do some damage from there. So I decided I was best to double here, but unfortunately, he does go back into Doublade, as I'm now out into my Mega Gardevoir. I have to switch here. This guy can do a huge amount to me, and I can't actually do a huge amount to it because of my full moveslot syndrome. I count it. I've got a good chance of living with my Nidoqueen if he Swords Dances up, and he goes to Shadow Sneak. Unfortunately, it is the high roll, and I go down from here. Now I go into my Heracross, which isn't my Heracross, it's actually my, my Zoroark, and he just goes for Shadow Sneak here, doing a, decent amount of damage. I can take that, go for a couple of knockoffs, and with min-max, I might be able to take him out from here, but unfortunately, we get the critted. And at this point here, that was an absolute huge crit, because now he can take huge amounts into my Heracross. Knockoff's going to take him out, but unfortunately at this point here, it's not looking good for me at all. I can't switch out, so I have to go, stay in my Heracross. I could have switched down to Gardevoir and risked it, but I just couldn't afford to in case he had, went for Shadow Ball or something like that. So now I can go into my Gardevoir here and fire off a Hyper Voice as he goes for that Shadow Ball, doing a good amount of damage to me. Unfortunately, just enough so I can't switch out. Which is really, really unfortunate, as I go for my Hyper Voice there and take him out. Out comes the Weavile. Knockoff is going to take me down, unfortunately. But I can go into my Fortress here, and he goes to the SD here, as I just go for the Rapid Spin to get rid of that. 'Cause my best bet here... Oh, and I've just reset it. My best bet there is to actually try and get my Talonflame to set up to sweep. That was literally my only chance, because I can out-prioritize the Weavile with my... Talonflame. So he does go for the knockoff here. Bring him down to a guaranteed range to KO with my Talonflame, but unfortunately he does seem to have some bulk investment or something like that, because that did a lot less than expected. And I do then take him out with the Brave Bird. That, as I said, that did a lot less than I was expecting, considering an offensive Talonflame. Out comes this guy. I do go for the Roost here just to see what he's going to do. He goes to that Wild Charge, doing huge amounts of damage. And the lack of Life Orb or anything like that means it's probably going to be Scarfed, and he does take me out from there. So unfortunately, that was game from there. A really unfortunate crit meant that I just got really worn down by that Doublade, and a really, really terrible double on my part. Definitely sealed my fate from there. So unfortunately we do lose. He does continue on undefeated, but we're still 6-2, which isn't too bad. So anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys at the next one. Macadii out.